I was yanking weeds from my front yard when two squad cars pulled up, lights flashing. "Ma'am," one officer said, "we got a complaint you're destroying HOA property." I blinked. "I'm gardening. In my yard." And right there, standing behind them with her smug little clipboard, was Karen, head of our HOA. She thought she won. But what she didn't know. I had a file on her. And it was time. If you've ever been bullied by someone in power, someone who hides behind rules just to make others miserable, then buckle up. This is a story of sweet, legal, public karma. Smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get into one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. I live in a small cul-de-sac just outside of Phoenix, Arizona. It's one of those neighborhoods with perfectly beige houses, manicured lawns, and unfortunately, a very overzealous HOA. At the heart of it all? Karen. No, I'm not being cute. Her actual name is Catherine, but she insists on going by Karen because it sounds more refined. Yeah. That kind of woman. Now, I'm not a troublemaker. I'm a quiet, recently widowed woman in my 40s who just wanted to find peace in a new home. Gardening was how I coped with grief, pulling weeds helped me feel in control when the rest of my life was chaos. So when spring came, I decided to transform the bland strip of land in front of my porch into a mini butterfly garden. I planted native milkweed, lavender, some wildflowers, all local, all low water, all approved by Arizona landscaping standards. But apparently, none of that mattered to Karen. Because 2 days later, I found a neon orange violation notice taped to my mailbox. Unauthorized modification of common space, remove immediately. Common space? This was literally my yard. I even pulled out my survey map and confirmed it. I thought it was a mistake. So I did what any normal person would do. I walked over to her house and tried to talk. Big mistake. I knocked gently on her door. She opened it with that icy Botox smile. "Hi Karen," I said politely. "I just wanted to ask about this violation notice." "The flowers are." She cut me off. "You're not allowed to alter the aesthetic of the neighborhood. We voted on it." I blinked. "But, it's my yard. It's native plants. Nothing invasive. They don't even grow taller than the permitted height." Karen stepped outside, arms folded. "And yet, you didn't ask for approval. You can't just do things without permission. That's what an HOA is for, dear." She said dear like it was an insult. I felt heat rising in my chest. "I just lost my husband," I said, not to guilt her, but because I genuinely hoped she'd understand. "This garden is helping me heal." She stared at me for a long moment. Then smirked. "Maybe channel that grief into something less disruptive." And with that, she shut the door in my face. The next week, things escalated. Karen started sending more and more violations. My trash bins were visible from the curb, they weren't. My wind chime was noise pollution. My solar lights were unapproved modifications. She even reported that my dog barked too loudly, and I don't own a dog. Then, she called the cops. I was gardening on a Saturday morning when they pulled up, sirens off, but lights still flashing. "Ma'am," one officer said, "we received a report of property damage." "To what?" I asked. "To HOA property." It was surreal. Karen stood there, arms crossed, pretending to look concerned, like she wasn't the one who called. The cops quickly realized there was nothing to act on, but not before all my neighbors came out to stare. I was humiliated. But more than that, I was done. Because what Karen didn't know is that I used to work in compliance and risk management. And I had been collecting receipts. You see, during all of this, I'd been doing some light digging, legally, of course. I checked public records. I attended HOA meetings with a hidden notebook. I requested minutes, budgets, and audit trails under our HOA bylaws. And what I found was delicious. Turns out, Karen wasn't just a control freak, she was sloppy. She had been reimbursing herself for office expenses with no receipts, thousands of dollars over 2 years. She also hired her nephew's landscaping company, who was being paid double the market rate with HOA funds. Nepotism at its finest. And the cherry on top? Karen didn't actually live in the neighborhood anymore. She had moved in with her boyfriend 2 blocks over but kept her house as a rental so she could maintain her HOA presidency. Which, according to our bylaws, made her ineligible to serve. Boom. I printed everything. Invoices. Addresses. Meeting notes. Comparisons. Even screenshots from her Instagram where she posted sunset dinners at my real home. Then I made anonymous copies and delivered them. One to every HOA board member. One to the city's housing authority. One to the local HOA oversight group. And one, directly to Karen's mailbox. The fallout was nuclear. Within 2 weeks, a special meeting was called. Karen was removed from her position unanimously. The landscaping contract was terminated. A forensic audit was launched. And HOA dues were lowered the next quarter because of the savings. Karen? She tried to fight it. Threatened to sue. But when the audit team brought up the unlawful reimbursements, she quietly resigned. Her rental was sold by the end of the summer. She left with her tail between her legs, and no one, not even her clique, stood up for her. And my garden? It's thriving. Monarch butterflies come every morning. Neighbors compliment the flowers. And sometime, I sit out front with a cup of tea, right where the cops once pulled up. She tried to bury me with bylaws, but I read them better. She tried to intimidate me, but she underestimated what grief and quiet strength can do. I didn't yell. I didn't vandalize. I used the same rules she weaponized against others, to expose the truth about her. And in the end, she lost everything. I got peace. And flowers. You know, sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's watching the people who tried to break you, unravel from their own lies. Karma's patient. And occasionally, it wears gardening gloves. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell us in the comments. Have you ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA or neighborhood Karen? We want to hear your story. And don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping revenge stories just like this one, new ones every week. Until next time, stay strong, and stay smart.